Honestly, sometimes I amaze myself with my geniusness. So, I want to make banana bread, but I also really need to be productive today. So, I'm making banana bread and filming at the same time to try to make me believe that I'm actually working. Okay, I've only got the 2, but, well, it's not really feeling this vibe. Wow, that's better light, isn't it? I need ripe bananas. I need my phone because it's got the recipe on because I'm not that good. What's 350 degrees Fahrenheit and Celsius? I haven't even looked at any of these questions on Instagram today, so who knows where we're going with this. Okay, I think that the theme for today's Q&A is around bodies and recovery. So first question is spots under the chin and jawline. Is this a good sign? Yes, potentially. So don't quote me on this. I'm not a skin expert. I'm not a doctor. But apparently, I'm pretty sure if you just type it into Google, they tell you this. Spots around here is due to our hormones. So potentially, yes. I really found at the start when I had HA and at the start of my recovery, I had really, really dry skin, and then as soon as I got into recovery, I felt as if I was getting loads of spots all around here, and I'm currently owning this little guy too. You've just got to own it. And I also think if you're getting spots around your chin and your jawline, as much as it's probably a little bit uncomfortable, I think it's just a win. I think it's a way to celebrate, and we can just be like, get in, I'm on the right path. I'm really struggling with how my body's looking, and I'm really struggling with the weight gain. Help. Ooh. Yeah. I would say if you have HA because you've come from like a disordered eating background, or because you've always chased skinny, blah, 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 sometimes the weight gain can be one of the hardest things to deal with and one of the hardest things to accept. Also, if you think that we're in a society that tells us, be strong, but be slim, be skinny, but not too skinny, eat healthy, but make sure you can have, I feel like I'm quoting from Barbie. You get my point. Is that like, I feel like we're in a society that is always telling us to eat less and move more. So the weight gain can be really uncomfortable, especially if you're someone that like feels as if they've worked so hard for this body that they've ended up with. By the way, if you want to know, I've mashed 2 bananas. I've put in a teaspoon of cinnamon, a scrunch of salt, and now I'm just putting in half a cup of oil, but I'm using ground nut oil. I think I'm just going to choose it because I feel like it might give it a bit of a nutty taste, and I won't lie, I don't think we've used it in bloody donkeys, so makes sense. Society has taught us that if you're skinny, you're better. If you're losing weight, then you're motivated and you're disciplined, and now suddenly, for our health, for the greater good, the right thing to do is to suddenly go against everything that society is telling us. So weight gain can be really, really difficult, but change, we've got to remember that any sort of change is quite difficult, isn't it? Like, I'm not going to fluff it up and say that it's an easy ride, but what I can say is that when you won't believe me until you get there. So the thought of weight gain is always scarier than what it actually is. But when your body starts to be able to work with you, when your body starts to be able to have functioning hormones, when you're fueling yourself properly, potentially being weight restored, what happens is your whole of your body why can't I say it? You get it. Your whole of your body starts working with you. Renee McGregor taught me that when we're under fueling, when we're under eating and potentially underweight, all of our like non-essential things are down regulated. Digestion, periods, skin, hair, that sort of thing. Also, when you're under eating, it will create a sense of anxiety within the body because the body thinks there's famine. When you start fueling yourself, not only does your skin improve, your hair improve, your nails improve, but your energy improves, you're able to do more things in life, you're able to like not need to, schedule in certain socializing because you know you're going to be exhausted at the end of it, so you can only do one thing at a weekend. Instead, you can fill your whole weekends. You can make banana bread and just enjoy it. When you're fueling yourself, which potentially means you having to gain weight, your weight gain becomes this. it's like a teeny tiny element within your whole recovery, because your whole world is so much bigger. You've got the energy to go out and do things. You've got the energy to make memories. So what you look like and that particular weight gain doesn't become so loud. Whereas right now, because you're so focused on the weight gain and how your body looks and what you've got to do for recovery, it feels so much bigger than what it actually is. So I'm just putting in 1.5 cups of flour. So I'll share with you a few things that I did that helped me with the weight gain. Number one was I did a big 1.5, yeah? Did I say 1.5? Yeah. I did a big wardrobe clear out, huge. So I got rid of all clothes that I knew were maybe fitted me well when I was at my smallest, but like categorically I know that, okay, that's definitely not going to fit even if I gain just a little bit of weight. I also got rid of clothes that would potentially make me feel uncomfortable. I did go for a stage of wearing a lot of baggier clothes and things like that, but eventually I got comfortable with my body that actually I was just buying a bigger size. In fact, I'll insert a picture here. So this is exactly the same outfit, but the one skirt is 2 sizes smaller than the other skirt, and I basically look exactly the same. But I've just put in a teaspoon of baking powder, and now I'm just folding it all in together. Another big thing I did is try to get excited about the potential change that recovery brings you. Who is it that I've been for the past X amount of years? What labels have I attached to me? And actually, is that really me? And potentially, like, who was I when I was younger? So what I mean by that is, like, when I was younger, I loved crazy clothes. I was always sort of putting weird outfits together, wearing things that you would probably question quite a bit. Whereas when I sort of labelled myself as the health and fitness one, all I did was wear gym kit. So as part of my recovery, I used it as an opportunity to sort of explore who I was again, and to explore, like, who am I and how do I want to show up in the world? Now, it's not all about how you look, but it really ignited my love for fashion again. So I started to be able to be like, right, okay, well, my new wardrobe, actually, yeah, I do love bright colours. I do love, like quirky clothes. I love jackets. I love crazy jackets. And that was like, and I felt like I completely forgot that side of me. So it's like looking at the weight gain, and yes, you can choose to focus on all of the negatives. How am I going to feel in a bikini? How am I going to do this? But you could also decide to be like, okay, what opportunities are here? Not only am I able to sell loads of clothes or give to charity or give to your friends, but I'm able to like reinvent myself a little bit. I can show up as like, who is this real me? Who is this future me that I'm working towards, that's going to have a healthy cycle and a healthy relationship with myself and a healthy relationship with food? And then I sort of tried to get excited about stuff like that. So I'd make Pinterest boards. I still have Pinterest boards that I love to like scroll and add to, and I would create mood boards, and I would look on Instagram, and instead of following all of those fitness accounts, I unfollowed all of them and started following loads of like fashion bloggers and things like that. And suddenly it was like, oh yeah, this isn't, instead of focusing on the weight gain and how scared I was about having to have a new wardrobe, instead I tried to inject some like creativity and some fun into it. I've just added, or I am adding, some raisins into mine. It's not actually in the recipe, but I just love dried fruit so much, I'm putting them in there. To focus on like who you are as a whole person, not just on how you look. Suddenly how you look becomes less and less important, but for all the time that you're focusing solely and putting how you look on such a high pedestal, it's always going to remain the thing that you focus on, and also the thing that you pick apart. So another tip as well is to avoid body checking, avoid weighing yourself if you have to, and avoid picking yourself apart. Try to practice neutrality, body neutrality. So it's like where I'm not saying that now I love my body every single day at all. But what I am saying, I can look in the mirror and, all right, I will have some bad days where maybe I maybe not have the tools accessible to me that I've worked on, but 90% of the time I'm able to look in the mirror and go, oh wow, I'm bloated today. Oh, okay, move on. Rather than, oh my God, I'm bloated today. That's because of this, that's because of this. Now I need to do this, 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 and this. Do you know what I mean? It's like, okay, we see it as a fact rather than then attaching emotion to it. This is also something that takes a lot of practice. I spent months and months and months, waking up and getting ready in my living room rather than my bedroom because there was no mirrors in my living room. I lived on my own, it's fine. Giving the neighbours a little eyesore in the mornings, joking. Didn't, I had the blinds still shut. I've basically got a fruit and nut pot, and I'm taking all the fruit out and putting it in my banana bread, which I'm gonna regret when I want a handful of fruit and nut mix one day, but it is what it is. What was I saying? Okay, and then my final question for today was around digestion. I haven't got my phone on me now, but it said something along the lines of how I can't deal with how bad my stomach and my digestion is throughout recovery. I feel you, sister. Oh my God, it is chaos, isn't it? It is absolutely chaos. Wow, it's gone really dark, sorry. The sun's gone in, obviously, because we're in the UK summer. Yeah, the digestion thing is really, really difficult to navigate and takes a lot of patience. And just remembering, like, this is your recovery, and where you are right now is literally just a phase in your life. If you continue to sort of support yourself, reduce your stress, eat comforting foods, fuel your body, and get through this stickiness, you know that there's going to be happiness and health along on the other side. But it's really, really difficult to trust the process when you're so bloated and you feel as if you're so full and you just like can't take any more. But here's what happens. So when you're not eating enough and you are in energy deficiency, you probably will find that you experience a lot more. So it's in this pot now. I've just evened it up, and I'm going to sprinkle some little extra sugary bits on the top. You'll probably find that, oh yeah, bloody lovely. You'll probably find that your digestion is pretty rubbish and that you may have quite a lot of intolerances. And what happens when you start, basically the reason why that happens is because when you're under fueling, your body starts to down-regulate all of the things within our bodies that it doesn't need to stay alive. I think I mentioned this earlier in this video, or did I mention it in the last one? So then when we start to fuel ourselves a lot more and start to give our bodies what it needs, it can take a while for it to be like, oh, okay, we're doing this now, and can take a while for our digestion to catch up. So that's why we get so uncomfortable so quickly and for quite a while within recovery. It's because you've literally starved yourself, your body's had to down-regulate everything just to keep you alive, and now you're fueling it again. It can just take that little bit longer to recover. But I promise you, stay with it. What I would recommend is maybe reduce it, like not go in for like huge salads and things, which I wouldn't necessarily recommend in recovery anyway. We want those like good energy, carby meals to help our hormones. Wow, I'm getting out of breath. Let me just stick this in the oven. Yeah, maybe potentially reduce your fibre and eat your meals, which is recommended anyway, to eat regularly every 2 to 3 hours. But just eat sort of like small, like avoid huge meals with loads and loads of fibre in. May potentially help you. And bake for 15 to 20 minutes. Oh no, bake for 30 minutes, then remove from the oven and cover loosely with foil, and then bake for another 15 to 20. So I've got to do a 30-minute timer. Roger that, gaffer. Try to eat regularly, but also eat like sort of higher calorie foods, so like peanut butters. That helps get the energy in our bodies without sort of having to eat huge amounts of volume foods. Also, having said that as well, if you've got quite a lot of stress in the body, which is often like what I had my cortisol was really high while I had HA. Stress can obviously disrupt our digestive system as well, so any sort of meditation, breath work, anything you can do to support the body to help relax the body will be really beneficial for you. Basically, to round it up, chill out, keep going, eat, and do things that aren't associated with how you look. And I'll check in with you once I've licked the bowl and my banana bread's actually cooked. And here is my finished piece. I mean, he's not too chunky and he feels quite like dense, but guys, what can I say? I'm actually chuffed. Where am I? Whoa, wow, too close. I'm actually well chuffed with this, guy.